It took me a while to finish reading The Rational Optimist. I had started it over a year ago, then I put my Kindle away and decided to prioritize physical books, and eventually I got back to going on my Kindle and finishing it. And I felt it was really good. Now, before I go specifically into the review of the book, I just want to give a little note. You can use an AI system like OpenAI, or for example, perplexity.ai, which is what I use, and you can ask it to summarize books. You can ask it to summarize each chapter. You can ask it to delve more deeply into any chapter in specific that you find more interesting. You can ask it if it talks about one topic or another, if it relates to another book in certain ways. And so you can use AI as a great way to get quick breakdowns of books, and I highly recommend it. I also wanted to know what the relationship between the Rational Optimist and Why Nations Fail was, and this video is going to focus more on the Rational Optimist and the main notes that I got from it. But most of this note-taking was partially of the notes that I got and the insights that I got that I highlight on the Kindle very simply, but also the notes that you can easily get just from asking an AI large language model insights on the book. So, what is the central thesis of the Rational Optimist? Well, it summarizes human history, basically, and how we evolved the trade of items and the exchange of ideas. It looks at how the technological development of the world has brought an ever-increasing abundance of prosperity. The role of specialization and the division of labor is what helped humans progress so far. The primary driver of human progress is the free exchange of ideas, and this expresses, the book emphasizes the importance of property rights and economic freedom as drivers of progress. So what this means is that by exchanging ideas, we have a collective intelligence. This means that any single person can become highly proficient in one skill. So you can become the best pot maker, you can become the best hunter, you can become the best bow maker, you can become the best leather worker, you can become the best blacksmith. And someone can come along and get the best of each of these people's trade, and they don't have to spend all of their years learning how to do all of these different skills. There's already someone that's proficient in it. But not just that, that one person can become incredibly smart in one specific area, more so than any individual trying to learn everything could ever do. Oh man, my mind just drew a blank. I apologize. I start a sentence and I can't even finish it. Oh man. We have this. Oh, there we go. I've remembered. What we have is not just the skills of any one individual who's a master of their craft. They get to build on the knowledge of their ancestors, and ancestors before them, and ancestors before them, learning the techniques of the trade going over time, so that really you're not just one person always learning from scratch. You're building on top of the knowledge that's been accumulated over time. Another thing to point out is that humans have language, okay? So this idea that we can talk with other people and have ideas and record things and all of this is what helped humans progress so far. It is collective intelligence that led to the acceleration of innovation, basically. And it just grows exponentially as there are more people as well. So trade was the beginning of specialization and cooperation. It was the beginning of the development of a collective intelligence, and it led to trust between different groups and reduced conflict. Now, of course, humans used to always live in tribes of between 50 and about 150 people for hundreds of thousands of years, just like most primates still do. They don't live in societies of thousands and in some cases millions of people that we have in the world right now. To get to that point, there needed to be trust between the tribes. And if you had, let's say in your tribe, an abundance of one resource and the other tribe had an abundance of another resource, you could very well trade those. And each side would think, wow, this is a bargain. I get this thing that I don't have a lot of, and I get to get rid of this thing I have a lot of. The other side is thinking the same. And this builds trust between people. And so this is also showing the beginning of a society forming. More people can have more ideas, and this leads to even more innovation in all sectors of human development. Population growth also leads to more efficient use of resources. We currently have a problem where there are so many people that are dying from health problems caused by obesity, more so than there are people dying of starvation. This wasn't the case many, many years ago, but despite the record number of people existing on the planet and all of these malfusion fears that we were going to run out of resources to feed everyone, we're now facing the overabundance problem, which might be treated by another innovative idea called Ozempic to help people get skinny without making too much effort or exerting too much willpower, let's say. Well, yep, we've always got an abundance, and so the more people, the more ideas, the more technology evolves, the better people will be, and the more efficient use of, land and natural resources that we have. So, we will not deny that there has been irreversible damage, such as the extinction of many species, and that the climate has changed notably, but the issues brought forth from this climate change, I think, are exaggerated, and there have been countless predictions of the world ending by a certain year, but it's never come to life, and all of these pessimists have this idea that they get to feel like they're more intelligent than the optimists by proclaiming doom. I think they're causing much more of a problem, and the optimists end up being correct most of the time. And also you've got to think that the evolution of technology is going to be the very solution that we need to problems such as climate change. As we come up with smarter and smarter intelligence, artificial intelligence, we can get smarter and smarter solutions to the problems that we're facing. And as technology evolves, we'll have more ways to combat the problems that are being caused. So overall, this book acknowledges that the climate problem is hugely exaggerated, and that all the doomsayers and pessimists of the past, they're still alive with the largest amount of population in the world, and we haven't reached this so-called tipping point where it's irreversible. In my opinion, that doesn't exist, because technology is going to keep getting better to deal with the problems. So, more wealth means less economic problems to worry about, but even in wealthy countries like South Korea, for example, people are committing more suicide than any other place in the world in South Korea. Why is this the case? It's a strange paradox. Even though we've got an abundance of resources and wealth, people are lacking a certain degree of meaning. And it's no surprise to me that I think, not just on my own personal level, but I've observed it some places on the internet as well, an increasing interest in religious ideas, to use that as a grounding measure for meaning in people's lives. That you can't just get it through the material means, but you can get it through spiritual means. And I think that is the step that people have to take to find that extra bit of meaning. That's at least how I'm going through it at the moment. Now, when it comes to the role of government, this is how it relates to why nations fail. If you've got inclusive, that's the key word, inclusive economic policies, it will be much better for the country's economic development and also in terms of life satisfaction. And the best example that comes to my mind is Botswana. Now, what happens in Africa is before it becomes, let's say, urbanized with new politics and economics imported from the Western world, is tribes used to live with their own ideas and their own rules, basically. And so one tribe would say, hey, look, this pasture land belongs to everyone. Everyone's got their own cattle, but they're free to graze on the land that belongs to everyone. And this is the way that the tribe used to think in Botswana. What ends up happening later, when they start implementing their own government and start implementing different policies regarding economics, they realize we've got a natural wealth of diamonds here. Let's sell the diamonds, but instead of pocketing the money, just to the few greedy people at the top of the economic chain, let's say, they decide, hey, how about we reinvest this wealth to the whole population? Let's be inclusive and include the whole population in this wealth. And what did they do? They invested it in infrastructure for education. They invested it in healthcare. And so the country as a whole is growing much richer economically, as opposed to other countries that will be, let's say, there will be corrupt politicians. They'll say, hey, look, we've got all of this natural gold. We'll sell it all, but we'll keep it into our own bank accounts and not distribute the wealth to the rest of the population. This is extracting the resource, giving it off to foreign countries and letting your whole population suffer as a whole. And overall, this just causes huge issues in terms of poverty and inequality and corruption. And so very much what it points out, the role of government should be to intervene the least on free market. You want your country to be free to trade its items with other countries that are interested in those items, going back all the way to the initial points of the stories that I was telling about humans trading with each other. We need less government intervention, and we need to allow market-driven solutions that work from the bottom up, from the population up, to work as opposed to a top-down government policy which might just extract the natural resources that could be going to the people. And so you want to include your population as the beneficiaries of the profits, and this will make the whole population richer. Moving on to the last 2 points. Why did humans evolve as opposed to other animals? Well, other animals didn't distribute tasks like humans do, and they also didn't develop high levels of coordination through language. Very simple, really, The ability to build upon previous generations' knowledge and develop a cumulative amount of culture, no other animal species can do that. And so pessimists have existed abundantly over time. They've been wrong the vast majority of the time, all the way since the days of Malthus, even more recently with Paul Ehrlich, or whatever his name is, who predicted a population bomb, and all of his predictions became incorrect. Catastrophization causes people to lose hope in the future. It causes them to be pessimistic and not to want to have children, because how can you bring children into a world that's going to be, all the seas are going to have evaporated from overheating, and the sea level it's going to have risen, and all the houses were going to be destroyed, or oh no, we're going to cause an irreversible ice age, or no, we're going to cause all the ice caps to melt, or whatever catastrophization you want to do of the future is going to cause people to not want to have children. And if you've got less children, you've got less innovation, less ideas. We have already shown that right now in the world we have an overabundance problem as opposed to an underabundance sort of problem. So pessimism is attractive because it makes you look wise and morally superior, but that will cause a spread of pessimistic views, and then this causes population collapse, which ultimately ends human existence. The pessimist will say, that's what we need. We need to let Mother Nature heal itself. And I believe, yes, Mother Nature can heal itself whether the humans are here or not. I believe Mother Nature will take its course however it will. I think so. We want to continue the amount of human progress that we have. For that, we need an abundance of people to have an abundance of ideas and to push forward the shared prosperity that we have in the world. And so the book has pointed out many reasons to be positive, and I haven't even gone into specific examples of just the incredible rate of development that we've had in terms of people's lifespans, or in terms of technological development, or in terms of innovative solutions towards climate problems. This book makes the case that you can very rationally make the argument that you should be an optimist in this world, and that the pessimists really do not have much of a leg to stand on. And if you want to take the pessimistic path, I feel sorry for you, because I do believe the world would be benefiting much more from an optimistic point of view and from having more people on the planet. So yeah, have children. That's a good idea. Thank you for watching this review. I didn't elaborate too much into why nations fail, but the main item that you need to get from that book is the country's government policies inclusive, or is it extractive? That's the main idea that you need to know. You can go into specific examples as well. Right, that's my views on these books. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.